Okay.
The person who investigated is actually on leave today and won't be back until next week.
Okay. Well,
If
thank you
you
for
want, I
calling.
can have her give you a call next week sometime. Um, but I just wanted to give you what I know. So I am that person's supervisor.
Okay. Thank you.
I had several conversations with her during the investigation. She dug through everything. She interviewed every staff member that was present during those 24 hours.
Okay.
Chris's last 24 hours, including the nurses, the aides that took care of him during that night into the next day. She talked with the physician. She talked with two nurse practitioners. So the facility had called the medical nurse practitioner, the physician's nurse practitioner,
Okay.
and had obtained some orders. About the time they laid him down, it was around that time frame. And again, I'm not going to be able to give you a specific time frame because I didn't do the investigation.
Sure.
I'm simply going on the information of the notes that I took from my conversation with the investigator.
Okay.
But they had received some orders to do some lab work and to do a chest X-ray. But the facility staff said that he was at his baseline, that he was agitated, and he had been refusing medications or something to that effect. And so he was a bit agitated. He wanted to lay down. So the facility staff laid him down. They continued to monitor him throughout the night. He was at his baseline during the night. And the next morning, he had changed, and that's when the nurse came in and they called EMS, and EMS had pronounced him passed away. So our investigation was not able to determine that there was any facility failure. So when we do these investigations, we have to prove that there is facility failure, so that they didn't do something that they should have done. We couldn't prove that because the facility did reach out to medical. They reached out to the nurse practitioner who gave them orders, and they did call. He didn't have a change during the night that I can determine, and then they called emergency medical services the next morning when there was a change. So that's what his directive was. We wouldn't have expected them to have done. So we were not able to substantiate it. We were not able to find any facility failure during this investigation.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, I'll try to answer it if I can.
They were wrong with what they did. They knew the potential life-threatening situation that he could be in the middle of the night. I gave them what to look for. I gave them approximate time of day that would be happening. I told them
Right.
about all of it, and all of this is confirmed in his medical reports. I have so many, numerous audio recordings of the abuse that he endured with every interaction with this facility and its employees. They knew not to give him a sedative in the middle of the night because his blood pressure would drop already to dangerously low levels. Giving him a sedative could cause life-threatening damage. They also knew, or had been told, about his medical history with regards to stridor. Stridor is his throat muscles closing up, blocking off his airway. They were also informed of this happening all the time before that baclofen pump was put in at 2 o'clock in the morning. They knew the potential dangers of this situation. Numerous, and I do mean numerous, 100 or more, calls to Adult Protective Services to bring light to the abuse that he was enduring and the potential dangers that they were placing him under went to no avail because they weren't jotted on the medical records. They weren't putting it down anywhere. 38 days he spent vomiting up bile and blood, moaning in pain, begging to see a doctor, begging for help, and them not doing anything but coming into his room after he'd thrown up one time and saying, "Bleh," or "Why are you doing this to yourself, Chris? Why are you making yourself throw up?" And then leave the room for 45 minutes to come back in, and I hear, "Are you ready to cooperate now?" Several recordings like this. They couldn't use them before in the prior investigations with the hotline calls because they said that there was no way of telling where they came from and the vomiting wasn't ever documented, so therefore it never happened. Or my favorite one, he was burned with half-dollar size blister burns on the top of his leg because they said they were going to get him some soup to eat. So they brought in the soup, he sat down to eat it, he took one sip, it burned him. It fell on his lap, blister burned the top of his leg. That report also was unsubstantiated because they said he burned himself. I am not going to accept not at fault by any means. This has to come to light. This has to be reported, and this type of behavior from this employment staff has to stop this. This is crazy that this is happening. How many more people, how many more children are going to have to die? I say children. He was 35 years old. Man, he weighed 98 pounds when he died. Nobody finds that alarming. There's no way a 35-year-old young man can be natural causes at death, especially when they had been told of the potential of the life-threatening dangers and what time they can occur. I cannot stand for that. There is fault there. Whether anybody wants to hear it or not, if you care to listen to these recordings, it takes a lot to listen to them. But if you ever care to listen to them, I'd be happy to send them to you so that you can hear it for yourself. It's horrific. And it has to stop.
Okay, I am limited to what our investigation finds, and that's what our investigation found during this
Another failure. Another failure. All those times that we begged you for help. All of those times my son begged you for help. And now he's dead.
And we completed investigations during each of the allegations every time.
And what did you find?
We found them to be unsubstantiated.
What does unsubstantiated mean exactly?
It means we weren't able to prove that there was facility failure.
It doesn't mean not guilty.
Follow-up.
Unsubstantiated does not mean not guilty, does it? It just simply means that there wasn't enough proof, because it definitely does not mean not guilty. Correct?
Right, and we don't look at things from a criminal standpoint. We look at things from a regulatory standpoint because that's what we are limited to enforcing are the regulations.
So essentially,
that's how.
So essentially, what I'm hearing is just because it wasn't up to what I feel would be an acceptable standard of care doesn't mean that it was any way neglectful. Correct? Because it's like a bare minimum quality of care, right?
Well, we are limited to upholding the regulations, which the regulations are the minimum requirement, yes.
And you do not feel that there was anything that they did wrong?
Our investigation showed that we were not able to prove that there was any facility failure.
Okay, so the medical records that proved that there was stridor, the medical records that proved that they gave a sedative, possibly 2 sedatives, because according to his medical records from St. Luke's, they had ordered 2 different types of blood pressure medication. So I'm curious as to know what medication he was on at the time he passed away. And how can that not be negligence when the medical records say one thing and yet they do exactly what it says not to do? How can
What I
that
can
not be
tell you
negligent?
is the investigation that we completed, and we did do a record review, did not indicate that we could show any facility failure.
How come? It's right there in his medical record.
I can't provide you with any medical records. I don't know what medical records you're referring to.
The ones from St. Luke's, my chart. The
Okay.
two, 3 pages, the 30 years of being his only caregiver knowledge.
Mhm. Right. And again, that's not something that I can provide you, but I can tell you that we did review his current medical records, and we weren't able to show that there was any failure.
What medicine did the doctor order him to have that night?
I can't share that information with you. You're not the guardian. I'm sorry.
Okay, but now wait a minute. According to the Missouri law, guardianship is no longer valid upon death. I am his mother, however, and that does give me entitlement to information from the medical records because, like I said, according to Missouri statute, the guardianship is no longer valid.
That's not information that I can share. You are welcome to submit a sunshine request.
I have it. I just got that today from them.
Want any medical records, you're also welcome to submit some type of a records request, whatever the facility policy is.
Yes.
To NICS to determine that information for yourself. But I cannot provide that information to you because that would be third-party information.
So who pronounced him?
I can't reveal that information to you. I'm sorry.
Is it customary for an employee of a nursing home to pronounce death?
I don't know exactly what you mean by that.
Is it policy of nursing homes in the state of Missouri to pronounce death?
It depends on the situation.
And that meaning natural causes or not?
Not necessarily.
What else would constitute or warrant not contacting a medical examiner other than anything but natural cause?
Why do you think that the medical? Well, number one, we wouldn't have expected a medical examiner to be contacted. It would be the coroner. They're two different entities.
Okay,
But why do you think that the coroner wasn't contacted?
He was contacted?
Why do you think he wasn't?
Verbal reports from the nursing home?
Well, I can tell you that we talked with all parties involved, and we didn't find any facility failure.
So a coroner was contacted?
That's all I can share with you. I'm sorry.
So a coroner was contacted then?
I can't share that information with you. What I can share with you is what I have already shared with you.
Okay, so he wasn't contacted.
I can't share that
Well,
information.
I kind of already know that. I'm not asking. It's kind of a rhetorical question because I already know that answer. Okay, well, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Okay.
She said the doctor and the nurse, they made some orders, but the nursing facility couldn't administer him because he was agitated. They didn't follow the orders that the doctors left, whatever it was that they were. That's negligence. Because he was agitated, yet they had him on sedatives. How was he agitated if he was on sedatives?
Because he couldn't breathe.
You know what I mean? But they didn't follow the orders, whatever those orders were.
I didn't expect this. I don't know why I'm so
Yeah, but
fucking
that
mad
right there,
because I didn't expect this.
she did say that the doctor left orders, but they were followed because he was agitated or he was baseline or whatever the hell that be.